Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Like always, I'm Brian. So, I had this idea. In this computer build back here, I don't really have the space to fit cable management combs. So I wanted to find a way that I could make my cables flat, get them behind the motherboard tray, and still keep them somewhat organized. Now, for those of you who don't know, cable management combs basically take your individually braided wires, make them flat, and keep them nice and, neat looking. Someone brought up to me the fact that cable stitching is also like my idea that uses string. It looks nice, but it's far more time consuming than what I figured out. So if you want to see an alternative to cable management combs done Chanley style, pay attention. My idea actually stems from some of the work that I've done in aviation. And what we do as power plants operators is we'll install parts, the bolts and things will have holes in them, and then we'll take thinly gauged wire, route it through the bolts or the nuts, wire it together, and it makes it so the parts won't vibrate out. It's called safety wire. Now my idea actually takes thinner gauged wire and it loops it through the cables, making it secure and very, very flat. So if you have no space behind your motherboard tray, it gives you optimum spacing. Now, like I said, there is something you can do with thread that's a little bit similar, but it's not as rigid. And I kind of like the industrial look, so that's really what I was going for. This is kind of an advisory, though. This is metal. Computer parts conduct electricity. If you don't do this right, you will most likely short out your computer parts. Only do this if you know what the hell you're doing or have an idea of how electricity works. That being said, I am not responsible for you frying your computer parts. This is just an idea that I had and I think it looks cool, so I'm going to do it. Other alternatives, since you don't really see anything in back here, I saw someone from one of the BitPhoenix forums saying that they just used packing tape. Make it nice and flat, goes in the back, packing tape. Don't have to see it, it's non-conductive, good to go. But then lies what it looks like when you get to the front. That's really where more of my idea comes into play. And there's different colors you can get. You don't have to have silver. You can do green, black. You can grab twist ties really if you want to, because that's basically what's inside the twist tie is this gauged wire. I'm going to try to get my hands on some blue or some dark black. I really don't want to mess with green because I don't have anything that matches green, but I'm going to do my best to try to find other colors. There is red out there, but it's copper. It's even more conductive than this, and I really didn't want to deal with it because copper is also extremely brittle. You're going to want to go with galvanized steel. It's probably about your best idea or your best chance of, it not breaking when you're putting it together. But if you have delicate hands and you don't really care, sure, use the red. Red will work just fine. But it's very brittle, like I said, and it'll be very easy to break with just your hands. Now, I went ahead and I threw this together and did this a couple of different ways. This is not the finished product, and as you can tell, I kind of twisted the cables a little bit, so I didn't really line it up as nice as it should be. I call this method the crisscross twist. Because what you do is you cross the cables, you twist it like you would with a twist tie, and then you add the next cable all the way down. Now it looks a little bit cleaner in line, but it does have a wider spacing. Now this is actually two different things that I came up with. I call this the crisscross on the top and then the loop back on the bottom. And basically what I did is I just crossed the cables, added another one, across the wire, added another cable, crossed it again, and went back and forth like that all the way up until I got to here. And just to add a little bit more stability, I came back across with the wire, and that's what I call the loop back. I did not do any of the pre-cabling myself. This was done factory through BitPhoenix. And one thing I'm a little upset about is they didn't really, I don't know if their quality control isn't up to par or if they didn't really plan ahead, but that really didn't put these together in a way that makes it conducive for wire combs in general. So that's one thing to watch out for, is trying to make this flat in just a way that it'll work. But as long as you basically take the kink and put it out of sight, you won't have to worry about it. So moving on to here, basically what you need to do is take what you have, and since, like I said, I'm trying to get this to be as flat as possible behind the motherboard tray, I'm going to go ahead and work it down from the top because this is where I'm starting, and I really don't care about the finish since it's going to be hidden by right next to the power supply anyway. Make sure you have all your cables nice and flattened like this. Work them down and really just concentrate on making sure that they don't cross, and so that way they'll lay nice and flat all the way across the motherboard tray. Now I'm going to take the 28 gauge steel galvanized wire, get a little bit of it out, maybe about 8 inches to 12 inches depending on really how much you want to work with. You're not going to use very much, but you're going to want the extra because it'll make it more controllable, trust me. Start off by pulling it tight. It doesn't matter if it's very even, but if you're one of the people like me who have to have your shoelaces perfectly even, this might drive you crazy as you're doing this if you don't put it together just right. But I think I'll be just fine. So pull it the opposite way you want to go, loop it forwards like this, cross it, grab the next cable, put it in line, pull it across, cross it tight like that. Just keep repeating the process all the way across. Make sure it's tight. And then finally what you're going to do is at the end, give it a couple extra twists like this. Cut off what you didn't use. Oop, no, you cut that a little bit lower. Try not to lose the pieces. And then fold it back out of sight like that. So now it's good and flat right there. So I went ahead and finished everything up, and just to make sure, I put the panel on, like I said, just to make sure everything works and everything fits properly. And so just to show it off to you guys, the panel comes off, and there's the cabling right there. And here's the cabling right here. Now, not really looking for showmanship, it's the back, but everything's nice and flat. I went ahead and I kept everything off the motherboard tray just to keep it, or off the back of the motherboard to keep it from shorting anything out. It goes nice down and then in where it needs to go. I really hope you guys like my idea. It's just a quick little thing that I recently came up with. This is really just kind of like a tester. I don't really know how well it'll turn out, but I really like the way it looks so far. Go ahead and give me some comments, questions down below. I'll do my best to add some things into the description if you guys have any questions. The more questions you give me, the easier it will be for me to fill up the description with common answers for questions. You can give me a thumbs up if you liked it. Give me a thumbs down if you thought this was a terrible idea. But if you give me a thumb down, please leave something in the comments to give me an idea of how I can improve for viewers like you. Anyway, this is my alternative to cable combs, done Chanley style.